Okay, so we covered the finances of an RV. We pay 1,000 a month. That sucks. You know, 1,000 a month. I could do a lot with 1,000 a month. And I paid $12,000 to basically let my RV sit for a year. I forgot to cover storage. You don't want to put an RV just anywhere. You want to put it undercover. We've had our RV for 12 years and the roof is usually only guaranteed for 10. But because we've had our RV in a warehouse for the majority of its life, and that helps the longevity of the roof. So basically that costs money though, right? It's more money that you got to pay to have that RV. So it just doesn't stop when you buy the RV. You've got to take care of your RV. You got to do maintenance. You got to caulk it if it's not a one-piece roof, fiberglass, etc. So I've been RVing for more than, oh gosh, since I was a baby. We grew up and we actually lived in a camper, RV in the woods, and that's basically that's why I like the nomad lifestyle. I love to travel. I love to camp. Not everybody's like that. So make sure your significant other likes to camp and likes to travel, because if not, an RV is going to be a money pit. It's just going to sit there. It's not going to get used. So let's talk about the RV and why it falls apart. Well, we just drove through Missouri, we drove through Illinois, we drove through Ohio, Indiana, and we're getting ready to drive through Pennsylvania. And the roads suck. This thing being 12 years old, the roads suck. And the Class C has a cab over portion, and when you're driving, you can see your window frame and the cab over portion is moving 2 to 3 inches up and down with all the bad bumps that the truckers make. So one person told me once that having an RV is like having a house go through an earthquake every time you drive it, and it is an earthquake every time you drive it. So things are going to rattle apart. Your plumbing, your electrical, rodents can get into your electrical as well if you don't store your RV properly, because they like warm areas in the winter. I'm going to show you raw RV living. This is for us. We're traveling and it's a mess. Okay, when you're traveling, you clean when you get there. You open your slides, you clean, you do everything. You pack. It takes about a day to pack. So you know, that's another thing. If you're planning on going for 2 weeks, it takes you a day to pack. It takes you 2 days to unpack and clean. So this is our over area. This is where my daughter sleeps. She's got all her stuffed animals. It's got a sound system in here. It's cool. But the windows, those are European windows. Never get anything with European windows. And here's why. I can't find those windows anywhere, even in Europe. I had this in storage and somebody broke into it and they smashed a window. I found a bra, I found shoes that weren't mine, I found coconut milk in the fridge. Things weren't destroyed and stuff like that, but still, if you lose a window, that's proprietary. After 12 years, nobody makes that window. So what do you have to do? We have a bunkhouse here. You have to put 2x4s up and a piece of plexiglass, and you got to screw those 2x4s into, well, you got to screw the plexiglass into the 2x4s. So it's broke, okay? I can't find the window, can't replace the window. It looks funny on the outside. This has been like this forever. These closet doors, guess what? They're supposed to screw them into something solid. There's nothing solid to screw into. So that was one of the warranty work things that we never had fixed. The trim falls off. Whenever you have a leak, and it goes into your floors, and the wood there gets soaked, your floors sag. Okay, so this is RV 101. Never ever ever, and this is some advice that I will give you, and this, well, you can see here, this trim is missing because it breaks off. It's just not put together well. Let me show you here. There's trim in here that's broken off. We had to redo the cab area because it was just weak. There was just a bed there going over it, and the bottom of the bed was like this hard cardboard stuff. So we actually put a rigid thing in there. These right here are 1997 1997 Saab seats, and they're comfortable. But the seats that come in RVs are not comfortable. So I put 1997 Saab seats in here. Okay, you can see our trash. My wife's doing her nails. We got our map. You know, everything's okay, but everything's apart too. You know, when we got it, our reverse camera didn't work. It still doesn't work. All the wires were just not put away right. And this right here is called a cable slide. If you find any RV that has cable slides, run. Cable slides suck. You want to get something on tracks or on a chain drive or something like that. Now these are really cool, European windows. But look, they're broke. They're blackout windows, but they're broke. Crap. Guess what? Can't get them. The radio broke, so we had to get a new radio in here. The TV, just a really cheap TV. I mean, if you have a $160,000 coach, you expect to have a nice TV. All right, let's talk about this. You got your generator, you got your water heater, you got your water pump, you got your gray water. Okay, you can see where we're at here. I've got propane, I've got battery, I've got fresh water, gray water, and my black water. Your black water is probably always going to read full, because once it gets filled up, you got it? Once it gets filled up, the sensors get plugged. So you got to clean that. And there's ways to do it, but it's just really annoying. RV showers. This is our RV shower. Okay, we've got a bunch of junk in here. But RV showers just suck. It's this really flimsy plastic stuff. And these are on nice RVs. Vents. Look at that. See all that stuff? It's broke. I don't even know if this vent works. Yeah, look at that. It does work. You can actually see the cover that was over the vent. It was over the vent, and I put another cover on it to protect it. And since I've done that, the deterioration from the sun on that plastic has eroded, and you can see that cover is just floating up there. So this is stuff that you're going to have to constantly be working on to keep up and fix. The lights. See this light right here? They're broken. You put new bulbs in them, it doesn't matter. They're junk. So I got new LED lights. So now that I'm in the RV for a while, I'll be able to do some, maintenance and stuff like that. Slides. Slides suck. You can see there's trim missing over here that just breaks off. This doesn't work right. The lights don't work right. The lights in our closet do work right. The AC works, which is great. We've got 500 hours on our generator. You can see here that we have these slide runners. That's to go on the rollers underneath the slide, so that when the slide goes in and out, it doesn't rip up your linoleum, which is really another cheap thing that they put in RVs. unless your slides are perfectly adjusted, it's gonna rip your linoleum, it's gonna squash your tile. So you have to have certain things in place to protect from that. Okay, let's talk about oh yeah, here we go. So I always recommend a Berkey filter if you're ever traveling, but you know, you're always going to be dealing with electrical, like stuff's going to break. My awning doesn't work right now. Jacks don't work. Sometimes they don't work, sometimes they do. And if you're stuck out in a you know, on a campsite and your jacks won't go up or down, fortunately Lippert, who is our jack company, is a good company, and they troubleshoot with us. But there's been times where we were stuck for a couple days because couldn't figure out how to fix it. Let's talk about blowouts. See that? That is a skirt, a fender skirt, or a step skirt that is proprietary to this RV. They don't make these skirts anywhere else. You see what's growing right here? You see that? That's mushrooms from sitting in a warehouse for a year. So we have mushrooms growing on our coach. But we did have a blowout on this thing, and it cost us a lot of money. And you can see we still haven't gotten the fender and the door and the skirt fixed. We can't find the skirt. When it did that, it ripped off parts of the bumper. You can see this is flapping down, and there's like a shroud here that's missing. This is missing. You get people that wash your car, or you take it to get detailed and they stand on your hood, they put dents in it. Guy still hasn't paid me for that. Another thing is your awnings. Your awnings rip and tear. Trim pieces like this go missing. Your generator doesn't work sometimes because the fuel line gets clogged. On this particular coach, the doors don't align right. It was a poor, see how it's doing that? They don't align right. So it's a Friday at 5 RV. I've said that before. You back into stuff and look at, there's your ladder. They don't wire it up right. And you can see there's fade. After 12 years, it's just starting to deteriorate. The fiberglass is coming apart. You back into stuff. Well, that's you know, user error. But the slides don't go in right. There's the window right there. So that's our makeshift window right there. And you can see these awnings are kind of breaking apart too. You hit a tree and it breaks your AC. You know, somebody doesn't trim their trees and it breaks your AC cover louvers. But you can go to Walmart.
Stop.
And you can usually park at Walmart
For the night.
and get your food. And you can usually not have to pay.
Get a pillow seat.
Get a pillow. Oh, sweet, thanks, babe. With memory foam, huh? It's gonna memorize the contour of my butt. What I recommend though is if you do get an RV, get a diesel. And get a diesel that has a diesel generator, because it'll help. You won't have to have two different fuels. But here's the inside of our RV right here. You can see they didn't really put this in right, and it was loose. And it doesn't matter at the factory. You know, they put it in, it looks good. You put 5,000 miles on it and everything falls apart because you're going through that earthquake every time you drive it. So this is like the third in a series of stuff, you know, is ownership for an RV worth it? And you know, I was thinking too, you don't have to have 150,000 or 80,000 or whatever to own your RV. And I think that's what I'm going to do on the 5th video is, you know, if I was to do it together or do it again, all over again, then I would get a bus. They're rigid, they're strong, you know, even something with 250, 300,000 miles on it. They're made for 1 million miles, 2 million miles, you know, old Greyhound bus. But I want to talk about why. But look at this separation right here. Separation here. And on the other side, this is from the rough roads. I mean, this is all one piece right here. You see that? That's not good. That's not good at all. Some of it's cosmetic and some of it's just a pain in the butt to deal with. But you know, hey, we've had it for 12 years and it's nice being able to get it when we want it. But if we didn't have it, we would rent it, because it would be cheaper for us to spend $4,000 a year renting an RV for 2 to 3 weeks than it would be to spend $12,000 a year to rent an RV for 2 to 3 weeks, or to own an RV for 2 to 3 weeks. So it depends on how you're going to use it. We lived in it for a full year when we bought it, and that's the reason why we bought it, was to live in it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents for this video. I'll see you next time.